Good morning, everybody. Let's talk about your best you here on Iowa Live this morning. And of course, we always love checking in with Sheree Clark from Fork in the Road, who has an important
topic. Good to have you here today.
Thank you. Good to be here.
An important topic for this time of year. It's fun to talk about the festivities and the lights and the cooking and coming together, but there's some other things you want to think about as we're approaching the holidays.
Yeah, there are some of us who have experienced loss during the holiday season, either leading up to it or, there's no expiration date on loss. We miss the people who are not there with us when we have these special occasions. And I wanted to talk today about that just a little bit because it's one of those things that we feel like we should be able to buck up, like suck it up and get on through. And the reality is there is pain there. So I wanted to talk about that just a little bit today. And I want to start by asking you guys, have you experienced loss and felt that feeling of the first Christmas without someone?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I
absolutely.
think a lot of people can relate to that. And it doesn't, as you said, it doesn't have to be around the holidays. Just realizing someone that you love isn't
present
there.
Exactly. Yeah. And it comes to the forefront now because the whole family comes back and there's an empty chair, which might be, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about some traditions or things that have changed. If someone that was there had a special role in the family traditions and now they're not there to fulfill it, maybe it's time to take a look at changing some traditions or adding some new ones. And I mentioned empty chairs. In my own family, the first year that we didn't have someone with us, we left an empty chair. And it wasn't to be sorrowful or to be macabre. It was a sign of honor and respect. So the thing to remember, I think, is it is honorable, it is respectful to talk about the loved ones who have gone on before us.
And we've heard that from organizations that do help, and especially around this time when many are mourning. They say don't be afraid to talk about it. A lot of people are like,
it's okay.
It's like don't bring it up, don't say the name, and it's like no. Actually, it's better to recognize.
Well, and I brought Kleenex. I think it's not only just okay to talk about the person, but it's okay to just let it fly. If you're feeling like you miss them a little bit, say it. I mean, how special is that? Because you're not the only one. And the other thing it does is remember. At Thanksgiving, Christmas, we have kids around. We're role modeling, but with all our behaviors for them, what is okay and what's not okay. And if it's not okay to talk about someone that's passed, that sends a message to them about death, about loss, about grief, that maybe we don't want to do. So having that in the forefront of my mind. The other thing is it's gift giving time. And so sometimes when somebody has experienced a loss, you're kind of like, is it okay to be happy? Is it okay to celebrate? Is it okay to do something? And I think it's kind of neat to do something that marks the occasion. So down by you, Jackie, I brought a little angel. And that would be, like, for example, you could get a Christmas ornament or something that represents the person and maybe talk about the person while you're looking at the gift or giving the gift or whatever. Down near me, this was a gift that was a friend of mine, borrowed from a friend of mine, and I didn't know this expression, but once I said it, everybody knows it except me. When a cardinal is near, an angel appears. So you guys knew that, and I didn't. I must have been left out of that one. So she was given a cardinal mug to commemorate the loss of someone. So those types of things. The teddy bear. I loved this as a gift idea. That was made by someone out of Grandpa's shirt. And given, isn't that
That's an amazing idea.
Yeah, and so the person is always there. I've heard of them using pillowcases and done that too, so that you can
sweaters and there's all kinds of ways to
something that makes that person be omnipresent. So not being afraid of that. So let's talk about the other kinds of losses that there are. It's not just family members.
Well, I was going to say, not to cut you off, Sheree. I love your idea of creating new traditions because the biggest loss in my family was when my parents were divorced.
Yes.
And that holiday afterwards. So no one died.
Right.
But it wasn't the same. And there was a huge loss in my eyes that next holiday season. But we created new traditions, and you learn what those new traditions are, and you moved on. So there is different forms of loss in people's lives.
Exactly. And to acknowledge and recognize that, and also to realize that not everybody processes it the same way.
Yeah,
While some people just seem like they can just move on and bounce on back and it's all good, other people might not be having quite an easy time with it. And the other thing is it comes in waves. So we tend to think about loss coming as we talk about the process of grieving. It's not linear. It never is linear. We might think, well, you're in this phase, or you're in the anger, or you're in the denial, or you're in the whatever. Right, exactly. It's not like that at all. In fact, you might skip a step and then go back and revisit, and it could be a year later. It doesn't always happen in the same time frame as what everybody else thinks. So just being mindful of that and allowing space, not being afraid to talk to somebody. The other thing is, if you're the person that's feeling like you're on shaky ground, maybe you felt the loss the hardest, to be able to say to the host or hostess, I'm going to come, I really want to be part of this, and if I need to go, I just want to have your permission, if you will, in advance, or your knowledge that if I'm having a rough time, I may go, and it's not any reflection at all.
Nothing personal.
It's just the way that it's been going for me.
Yeah.
So to be thoughtful about that. And you were talking about grief and lose a divorce. We lose pets too.
True.
So let's not forget that that loss is one that also needs to be commemorated. And so this is a gift that I think is just really special. It looks like just a little bracelet. It's a silver, and on the outside it's plain, and there's a little paw print on the side, and on the inside it says, "Once by my side, forever in my heart."
Oh, very cute.
And so this would be a perfect little gift for someone who's lost a pet. And remember also that the pet grief, or the grief of one loss, can bring up grief from prior losses, so it can accumulate. Finally, let's talk about anticipatory grief, and let's agree not to do that. Sometimes we're with family members that are ill, that you're thinking to yourself, this could be the last. We all know.
Oh, yeah.
When you have aging or someone with a bad diagnosis. So let's be in the now. Let's don't talk about this could be their last Christmas. We all know that.
It's a thing to think about.
Yeah, so why don't we just be in the here and now and in the moment with those people and enjoy the things that we have, because it's true, you don't really know and appreciate what you have until it's gone. And it's not gone now, so let's enjoy it and celebrate it. Remembering that grief lowers our immunity system, so taking care of ourselves in the process, and just realizing that this is what we have, we're here. It is a holiday season, there's mixtures of feelings, just go with it.
And everybody does it different.
Yes.
Everybody, because I know with friends or that they just want to forget the holidays completely and just let them pass, and maybe that's not, try to maybe encourage them to still, but yet respect how they want. Yeah,
exactly. Allow space. Make the invitation. Maybe make it a second time, because the first time the invitation might feel like, I can't. It would be.
I just don't want to do this.
Yeah, exactly. But then, as you get a little bit closer, to say, the offer doesn't expire, and if you just show up on my doorstep and knock, we're going to welcome you in with open arms. What a blessing that is, even for the person to know that.
Yeah.
And that it is okay to knock. To some people that have shame. Oh, well, you need to get out, and you should have. But to just
Exactly. And let's love each other before we're gone.
Wonderful
always good advice.
Yes. If people want to know more, maybe they want to share some stories with you, or they want to follow back because you gave us some great advice how to take care of ourselves
Absolutely.
last week. If they want to revisit that as well, you always have wonderful advice, as Michelle said. How can they learn more?
Well, email me at info@fork-road.com, or visit my website, which is www.fork-road.com, and do share your stories with me. They're special to me as well.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you, Sheree. A wonderful topic, especially around the holidays.
Can be tough for people.
Yes, they can.